Good morning, everybody. My name is Marty Hicks-Forrest. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. I am a soul coach. Somebody called me that, and it resonated, so I'm keeping it. And I offer one-on-one coaching for people who are ready to dig deep and shine some light on things that are that maybe need some tweaking in your life, and you're not really sure where to go. I also do a 6-week course. The next one will start October the 13th. I actually picked the date already. Crazy how that happens sometimes. Somebody asked me about it. They couldn't do this one. It's happening right now. And looked at the calendar and chose a date, and it goes right before Thanksgiving. So October 13th will be that one. So if you're interested in that, that's also on the website. You can go to the website, get your free offer. Right on the landing page, it's 3 steps to reprogramming your negative self-talk, which eventually is going to get changed. That it's evolving. The name is evolving. So anyway, today I am talking about triggers. What triggers us in our lives? And I received a text from someone that just pushed my button. And so if you read the email, if you haven't read the email, you can, once you get on the website and sign up, you'll get the email, so you'll know what I'm talking about. But the synopsis is I got a text and asked some questions about it because this person had confirmed being there and then canceled, so I can't be there. And I said, well, what's going on? And they proceeded to tell me that it was something with the family, and then there was something about me and my husband that she feels unsafe about. And I just feel like, first of all, it's not a texting conversation in my mind. And then she tried to sugarcoat it, which, you know what, I can see where I have done that in my life. I think many of us do that in our life. And so many people, good morning.
Hi, Marty. It's Stacy. Sorry.
Hi, Stacy. Thanks for being here. And so many people use text as a mode of communication, and there's just things that are not communicated for me. I'm old school, I guess, because there are some things that I want to have a conversation about. But for me, it's about communicating, and when it's a text or an email, then that's a place to hide out. So that's my judgment about it, my opinion about it. I will usually pick up the phone and call someone when I get a text like that, and my experience has been they won't answer the phone. So I didn't do that this time. I didn't call her. I just stopped texting. I realized that, first of all, I got triggered by it. Second of all, in hindsight, I felt like probably the better choice would have been to not reply at all and simply tell her this is not a texting conversation. I did not do that. So human nature is, well, I don't know if it's human nature actually, but the way that we're programmed is that we get triggered by something, we react to it, or not. There's many ways to react to it. So when I started digging deeper into this, what was just when I get angry, there's always something under it. Always. And anger is coming from a place of fear. Always. And there's 2 emotions in the world, love, fear. You can categorize everything underneath either column. Anger clearly is fear. Underneath that, I was hurt. I felt judged and rejected. And what do? The same thing right back to her. When I dig deeper, I do a lot of writing. So I get a lot of insight in writing. If anybody likes to write, that's one way to get into what's really going on. Another thing is I called a friend that I trust, and I spoke with her about it and said, help me see what I'm not seeing. So sometimes we get triggered by things. We were having this conversation before the recording started. So sometimes we get triggered by things. Then sometimes it's just something somebody does. Somebody cuts us off in traffic. Okay, they're being a jerk. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're in a hurry. Sometimes it's about our perspective. It's about how do we view, what am I looking through? How am I viewing the world? Someone cuts me off in traffic, they're being a jerk, or they're going too slow. I have all this judgment, right? Well, what if it's something else? somebody was talking about they saw this person weaving and they thought they were on their phone and they're going slow and they're weaving on the road. They're swerving, kind of back and forth. And they get up to get around them, and it's an old guy, like an 80-year-old guy driving the car. You probably can't even see the line. You see that person already had a prejudgment about what's going on and getting upset by that. And then they see, oh, it's this old person who maybe can't even see the line on the road. Maybe shouldn't be on the road, but that's not my business. My business is just get away from him and take a look at how I perceived it. Because I do that same thing. Now, when I'm getting triggered by something that my reaction is out of proportion to what just happened, that's where I really want to take a look. That's where I would encourage you to really take a look. When something happens, I get this text. I'm mad. I'm hurt. I feel rejected. I feel judged. I have these feelings that are showing up. But my first reaction, not a response, it's a reaction, is anger. That's my MO. Some people shut down. Some people walk away. Some people go isolate themselves. Everybody has their thing that they do when they get triggered by something. So paying attention to the depth of your trigger. I used to have a person in my world that just would send me over the edge, and I was instantly infuriated. Remember, my first reaction is anger. That's not true for everybody, but that's mine. And when I had that reaction, this is my invitation, take a look at the intensity of it is out of proportion to what's going on. My MO is to get angry. Sometimes it is to shut down. Sometimes I'll just bypass the anger and shut down. When it's that intense of a reaction and that out of proportion to the circumstance right in front of me, what I know to be true in my experience of this road, this journey I've been on, is that I've touched a very deep, old wound that came out of my childhood. 100% of the time, that's been the experience. When I dig underneath the reaction and I start looking at what am I really reacting to, this person that touched the wound, real or imagined, whether they did or didn't, my fear, my anger, my shutdown, whatever that is, kicks in. And I do whatever I do in that moment, and then I start looking and shining a light, and I start digging in that reaction. What's the reaction really about? Because normally, or not normally, what has happened is that person touched the wound, the new person, new situation, new circumstance, touching an old wound. So they've just simply have a new face that triggered an old pattern or wound that's never been healed. This circumstance with this person and the text was about my mom. My mom used to do that kind of backhanded blame game while trying to smother it in sugarcoat niceties. Just pissed me off. So I got angry. I deleted one text and then inquired. I got into the inquiry. So that's what I do for myself. Rather than I inquired with her in the text, and then I inquired with me. Why am I so triggered by this? Why do I feel so angry or hurt or judged or whatever I make it mean? So sometimes life happens. We have a reaction to something. Sometimes we look at things, there's just an injustice going on, or like I said, somebody cuts us in the traffic. Those are reactions. They're probably just a moment in time. The triggers I'm talking about today are the ones that are way deep in there that we generally don't want to look at or don't even know to look at. Sometimes we just think, this is just how I am. This is how my life is. This is how the world is. When I'm in that place and I think this is how I am, then I become the victim. I become the victim of my circumstances. And I become willing to get to be responsible and start doing some healing work, taking the different action, and become able to respond in my world. Sometimes my husband will do something or say something, and he takes on the tone and the energy and the wording sometimes of my dad. Holy cow! Yeah, it's intense. Today I recognize it. When he does that, I just go. I get my first reaction is anger. Of course, I'm angry. He pushed my button. And today I'm able to process it a lot quicker. So with time and practicing, committing to being aware of what's happening in your own internal world. That's what this takes, is that commitment. So as time goes on and I've practiced this and you start practicing this, when those triggers happen, sometimes you can see it right away. And I can go, oh, and I can tell him when that happens. Ooh, ouch, it just became my dad. When I say that out loud, I may not know what the circumstance was, but I know the energy of it and the wording of it and the intensity of it. By giving it a voice, allows it to become neutral. At least in the moment. I may not have healed whatever that is around my dad, but in the moment, I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming my husband. Because of my trigger. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
I had to unmute.
I figured as much. So, this is, learning. We're learning. We're all on this journey to learn and to take a look at our life and how to be more effective in our relationships. It requires. Maybe that might be too strong of a word, but it takes a commitment to be willing to look at why I'm reacting this way and how can I do it differently. So hopefully I've offered you some of that today. And I'm going to stop right there. That was a lot in a very short time. Would you like to share what you got? You had an aha moment?
I'm sorry, what was that, Marty?
I was asking if you would like to share, if you had an aha moment or something resonated for you.
This is still there. Stacy's still there. Hello. Well, I've been talking about triggers. Yeah, it seems like I recognize them more now. And that's okay, but some days it's like, oh, is that a trigger? Is that a trigger? I'm looking at everything as if it's a trigger now. So I think, like you said, looking at your reaction first and deciding if that's a trigger and then identifying it and where it comes from. And so that's been huge for me lately. Like you were talking about triggers that your husband might set off for you. And there was one recently that my husband set off for me, and I realized later that it came from something my stepmom used to do. And I always like to think that she didn't affect my life that much. But she did, and she did in a lot of negative ways. And so, later on I was able to talk to him about it and share that with him. And he wants to do his part and try and change it. And in my mind, I think, well, I'm not asking you to change. I'm, trying to figure out how to deal with it. I don't mind if he tries to change it, but
right.
I think it's me. And also one of the triggers, that's recent that I can think of.
That's good. That's a good one.
I feel like it's in childhood stuff, too.
Can you say that again?
Childhood triggers that come up. Yeah. Because I've had a few of those, too. And just things like when people try and give me a compliment and I want to act in a bad way, like an insecure, oh, no, I'm having a bad hair day. Somebody tells me my hair looks good or the outfit's cute. Oh, no, I look fat. I've learned to just accept a compliment, and that's like a small thing, but it's a big deal. Just to be able to first just say thank you. Maybe I'm not really feeling it, but the more I just say thank you, then I start to believe them that they're not just, BSing me, that they're actually giving me a compliment.
I like that.
And I'm not quite sure where that comes from. I mean, there's a lot of insecurities in my childhood and that it could come from. But, yeah. Maybe needing validation or something. I'm not sure.
When we grow up in maybe a critical home, I had a hypercritical home, when people start complimenting and acknowledging, it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable because it's not familiar, and I don't always believe it. Sounds like that might be true for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still a trigger, right? It's still a trigger, even though it's in a positive light.
Yeah, and that's part of the, the change in self-talk that you talked about on the worksheet and stuff, and recognizing how my self-talk is changing by just recognizing those triggers and reacting to them in a different way.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, yes. Thank you for sharing. Oh, I lost Stacy.
Uh-oh.
She must have she's at work, so I know she must have gotten. Somebody came into her office or something sometimes. So.
Okay.